bless, folks. So let's put America in the crosshairs again. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems to me that we can't just get past the scourge of this, the monkey on the back of this country called racism. So everybody and their mama is tuning in to Caitlin Clark, okay? They could have given two shits before she entered the WNBA. There are players that are 10 times more talented than her. Aja Wilson, 2 times MVP, 2 times champ. She's putting up some numbers this year that are unrealistic. Okay? So if this was about talent, white, not Aja Wilson. That's all I got to say. It's really shameful. It's shameful, folks. That's all I have to say. White, not Aja Wilson. Here's the second thing, as far as what we live in. Every time election time comes up, it's always about abortion. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, the abortion issue could not be biblical, although it says thou shalt not kill. Well, why do we have wars? Why do we execute people if we want to take it literally as that? On top of that, the evangelicals, the Christian crackheads always used to say, well, what would Jesus do? Okay, I told you what Jesus did. When the Israelites invaded Jericho, what were they told to do? Don't even leave an animal breeding. Anything that breeds, kill it. This included babies and pregnant women. Look at the story of the flood. Any babies was on that raft? Any babies were saved? You guys full of crap, man. The book says to work out your own salvation first. Okay, the righteous scarcely gonna be saved. All of these things. I could care 2 hoots about abortion. That doesn't pay my bills. So, I've been married for 22 years. I decided to have 1 child. My wife had 2 of her own. So I had 3 children at once. Raised up 3 boys. Okay? So, I am against willy-nilly abortions because there are too much contraceptives out there just to have sex. And, the end result might be a pregnancy or might be an incurable disease. So I'm not for people having illicit sex and decide to have abortions. But it's their right. You see, I is personal. Me is personal. So I'm married. I'm not a woman, obviously. And I dare not tell a woman what to do with her body. But between my wife and I, if my wife were to get pregnant, and that pregnancy is in the wrong place, and jeopardize the life of my wife, that fetus, that blastocyst, or whatever you want to call it, is no longer a symbiote, folks. It has become a parasite. It should have ended up where it's supposed to be. So I would have no problems saving my wife and getting rid of that parasite. That's the way how I look at it. If that child wanted to be born, in my case, it should have grown in the right location. Wrong location, you're not a symbiote anymore. You jeopardize the host. You have to go. It's as simple as it gets. That's how I view it. But we we are in this pious, sanctimonious type belief that we should impose our religious views on other people. Well, you impose your religious views on other people, right? So you got to take it in totality. What about all the illicit wars that we have fought? How many children our bombs and guns kill? How many kids were aborted? Look at the abortion in Gaza. I think 90% of the bombs and the money comes from our taxpayers. You said nothing about the children who are suffering in Gaza. Nothing about the children who lost their lives in Gaza. But you're going to turn around and tell women here they don't have the right to have an abortion if they want to. That is hypocritical, nonsensical, and it's like a cultist type behavior. But I know what the fervor comes from, okay? The statistic says that in the year 2050, the white majority is going to be turning brown. You know, that replacement dubious type, that's not even a theory. That's a rant. This guy from France wrote this nonsense about some replacement theory. And this will cause these white people to go pell-mell, cause them to go crazy. I had to explain to a guy, telling him it's okay for a white culture to replace a culture and a people that dwarfs theirs. There's no problem. But if the white culture was to be threatened by others, it's ungodly. How dare you threaten our 200-year-old country? You came here and meet people thriving, met cultures thriving here. The indigenous people were here. You genocide a lot of them, but that's okay. So this abortion issue is totally to maintain power. Don't fool yourself, okay? It's not about they liking black and brown babies. It's to maintain power. Japan is in trouble. They're not making enough babies. Even France is in trouble. A lot of developing nations are not making babies because of the way the society is structured. The society is structured on turning profits, not on family. Look at the cost of living in the United States. It takes probably more than 2 parents to raise one child. Okay? The cost is so expensive that people are not having babies anymore. People are refusing to get married. All of these things is all because of the ills of society. And we would never get to the point to say, maybe we should build less bombs, less weapons of destruction, and invest it in the family structure. No, we come up with this nonsensical thing about the great replacement theory, and then we all bottom out from there. So this is not about people who look like me and you, okay? Me, I'm a black man living in America. Look at the population. We have been 12 to 13% for the longest. We are one of the few groups in this country that's not growing, alongside the white people. So they're afraid of the browning of America. But the browning of America doesn't mean that the brown ones are the ones that could pass with a line with the people who look like me. According to the scripture, nobody's gonna like us. Okay, so even the ones who are not white, they still check the white box because they could pass. A lot of black people have done that in the past too. They check the white box. Nobody knows about their black heritage. They don't look black. So that's the idea. The idea of this abortion issue is strictly around numbers in a specific racial group. They don't care about people that look like me and you. Lock them up, kill them, mortality rate among black women is the highest. You know why? Poverty, no access to prenatal care, and all these things. That's what you're supposed to be looking at. Help the ones who want to save their children. Your policy is surrounded by depravity. That's all it is. That's what the abortion policy is about. I could go to a voting booth and vote on abortions. Are you kidding me? Look at all the other issues that we have. What about insurance? What about the price of food, gas, all these things? None of that matters. You're going to go drag your sorry butts to a poll talking about abortions. Talking about somebody God-given rights. When the book says we have to work out our own salvation. He says the righteous scarcely would be saved. I don't care about your sanctimonious views. I don't care about transgender people. I don't care if you're gay or not. That don't put food on my table. None of these issues I care about. The reason why we care about these issues. So, like I said this to one of these Christian nut job. You in your house. No lights, no food. Family's hungry. Would you care at that moment if your neighbor is gay? Or would you care if your gay neighbor decides to help you put your lights on and buy you groceries? And he tells me yes. I say, you're a damn liar. Because he didn't want to be cornered. I say, you're a damn liar. You wouldn't care because your priority is to feed your children. Would you care if a gay doctor could save your child's life? This is how fickle and nonsensical this argument is. We have to learn to separate the individual from the lifestyle. This is what Jesus did with the adulteress. Although they were trying to set him up, she couldn't be an adulteress by herself. Where's the man? But they brought the woman alone to be killed. But Jesus says, go and sin no more. You see what he did? You guys don't learn. Go and sin no more. He separated the lifestyle from the individual. What would make somebody want to change their life around when you guys constantly take the Bible and beat them over the head? Do you think that is appropriate? My grandmother used to say heaven would be full of surprises. And I think she's right. Because the book warns us about our tongues. You know, it's like a nuclear bomb in our mouths. In the islands, we call that goat mountain people. Because normally a goat would come and it would eat everything to the ground. Very few things will grow back after a goat passes mouth on it. This is what we would say, goat mouth. So we goat mouth people because of our piety and our sanctimonious behavior. The problem is, though, we all sinners. Don't cast no stones, folks. You have to encourage these people. Encourage them to get rid of that lifestyle. So while you pass your mouth, maybe because my God is huge, he could work miracles on anybody. In that day of judgment, you'll be in the line with the goat because you used your mouth as a goat. And you will see that same gay person on the other side. And the Father will say, enter, you've done well. And you will be pointing fingers on your mouth, be open and say, oh, wasn't this person gay? Yeah, was, past tense. You are not lying because of your mouth. All you have to do is deliver the word, people. The rest is up to our God. He could work miracles. Just deliver the word. As people who love God and believe in the laws, we cannot accept any kind of lifestyle that's counter to what Christ says. That's being an antichrist. You're having an antichrist spirit. So I don't view homosexuality different than adultery and lying and stealing. Sin is sin. So you cannot throw away the individual because you think one sin is an abomination above the other, but sin is sin. The same ones will cause you damnation. So you cannot single out people. You encourage them. You talk to them. Then you put the rest in God's hands. We're not allowed to do that. Those days of being stoned to death is gone because we are sinners. We are corrupted. We show preferential treatment. So we're not allowed to do stuff like that anymore. You see what's going on with Donald Trump? You see how the Supreme Court turned into pretzels to give an explanation why this man is immune from prosecution. And it's all foolishness. This is what's going on. How does high crimes and misdemeanors be prosecuted by Congress if Donald Trump or whoever president has immunity while he's in office? You see how nonsensical the Supreme Court is? But trust me, I've been saying this all along. I'm laughing my butt off. The Supreme Court is the ones going to cause a civil war in this country. You hear me? The evangelical cults will cause a civil war in this country because we refuse to draw lines. The lines have been blurred. Talking foolishness about hanging 10 commandments in classrooms, knowing that violates the Constitution. But if you hang the 10 commandments, what would you say to the Sharia law? You guys are Christian crackheads. You stand for nothing. And we are following this foolishness pell-mell. You know what that is doing? It's opening up the door for the Antichrist to seize power. He's going to do it on religious means, and then the military, the armies, and whatever is going to follow. He says that he's going to be able to interpret the dark scriptures. He will understand the Bible a lot and twist it. And a bunch of people going to be wandering after the beast. Yes. He's the God. Yes. You're going to turn even your mother in to be killed because they don't want to be part of the beast. This is what this blurring of the political lines, church and state, is doing, is rendering power. So when time comes for you to take that mark, it will be like nothing to you because the lines are already been blurred. You're not going to hear this in your Sunday churches, but this is what you're doing in your piety. In your so-called piety lies your destruction, because the most pious person, he's going to proclaim to be the most pious person on this earth. And the book says, by peace, he will destroy wonderfully. You guys are not having the right teachings, folks. All of this stuff, all of this religious fervor equates to the destruction of the ones who really obeys God's laws. You see, in those days, the Antichrist is going to say he's the law, sitting in the throne, saying, I am God, worship me. This is what you guys are doing now. You're blurring the lines. The lines should be separated. You cannot have the 10 Commandments hanging in classrooms. This is not a theocracy. If you have the 10 Commandments in the classroom, you have to have even the Kama Sutra hanging there, because that's part of a religious belief. You have to have the Sharia law hanging there. You guys are idiots. You introduce prayer in the classroom. You have to allow the Muslim to interrupt the class how many times a day to have their prayer. What about the kids who believe in Candomblé, Santeria, or whatever? Would you allow them to sacrifice chickens? Light candles and whatever they do? You guys are... May God help this country, because we have squandered his blessings. I think the stupid Democrats, with their frail representation, would allow this devil to be back in there. So when Trump was in there, COVID shows up. It was a reminder to people that we ought to live as God wants us to. All of that has disappeared. So let the beatings begin. Let the beatings begin, folks. You're not learning. Like I say, God works in mysterious ways.